Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter. This is Smart Business Moves. Hey, Liz, how are you today?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing well. Looking forward to KPIs.
This is KPI Thursday, but we're doing it on Wednesday because
Yeah.
it's the last day of the year. This is the last Smart Business Moves of the year.
Yes, it is. We won't be here tomorrow. We won't.
If we rolled the clock back to March, would you have thought then that we'd be here now doing this?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. And when we started, we didn't start out doing it every day either. We started out doing it like 3 days a week or something, and then we went to 5, didn't we?
It was every day. Monday through Friday. We used to do it was Monday through Friday.
Remember, it was 5. But I thought we started out with 3 days, then went to 5 days, and then went to 4. No? Okay, we started out with 5.
You can go back and look at YouTube and see the history. It was a 5-day, and somewhere along the lines, it was like, I needed to go fishing sometime, so we bumped it down to 4 days a week.
Jake, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, well, I think we really started thinking strongly about going to 4 days when I almost died in my car on Friday.
Yeah, holy cow. That was the whole thing.
No, I'm dying.
It killed your phone.
Yeah. And I couldn't be live on Fridays without being out and about like that. I think that's when it happened. Like, we need to make a change. Yeah, but I never would have believed it. I know. I think I would have believed it before you would have believed it, Tom. I don't think you believed that you had 4 hours a week to spend doing this. You didn't have it in your life.
And I'm not sure. Actually, though, this is the way I rationalize it. Prior to March, I would go to the office every day. Now I don't really go to the office much. I figured out that I can do what I need to do from home, and I think it works out for all stakeholders. And so I'm taking what used to be my commute time is now my Smart Business Moves time.
Yeah, and actually, it's a little bit less. So you still gained a little bit because your drive time was more than an hour.
Round trip, yeah.
Right around an hour, actually, I guess. Not, but a little bit more.
It had the potential of being more some days for sure.
Yeah. Especially during flooding times and your hurricane times. And all right.
My goodness, look who's in the house.
Wow, we haven't seen Diana in forever. Hey, good to see you, Diana.
It is the best. I love working from home.
Yeah, I do love working from home too. So.
All right, Molly, come here. Come here.
You're gonna show.
I need to show you guys, Molly. Come here.
She's embarrassed.
Yeah, she is. She's shy. She doesn't. She was groomed today, and I'm using the term generously. Come here, girl.
Poor Molly.
One, if you haven't seen her in a while, she has gotten a little bit bigger. But
she's like a colt.
They cut all her hair off.
All of her hair. She almost looks like a greyhound. She's so thin now.
Oh, she looks like a racing dog.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Poor Molly. Don't worry, girl.
It'll grow back.
It'll grow back.
They told me some story that she still had her puppy fur, which was kind of growing in with her adult fur, and that caused matting. And the only way they could deal with it is to take it all off. But it'll be better. It'll be easier to manage from here on out. So we'll see.
Yeah. She's a wonderful girl. Hey, Katerina. Good to see you. All right. We know that the room is going to be filling up with all the people that want to see KPI talk. So I don't know what you got. Oh, good.
We're going to go through. Let me get to...
You should probably talk about Old Man Potter one last time, because after today...
I was proud of myself with this.
I liked it too, Tom, I got to say.
I've talked to a lot of people, over the years who kind of feel that profit is the same as greed, and, we don't want to it's there. Profit is bad. But
Yeah.
what was the movie? Greed is good. I'm not saying that, but profit is a thing. It can be used for good or bad. And Old Man Potter was an example of somebody who probably had the wrong idea about profit. But George Bailey, he needed to be profitable too. He almost lost his bank because, well, you guys know the story anyway. Nothing good happens without profit. If you are running a business that's not profitable, it's not a nice place to work. You really aren't providing good service, and you really aren't creating much value, for yourself. I mean, if you're running a business where you have awesome jobs and providing great service and building something of value, then the only way you can do that is by being profitable.
Agreed.
Let me get myself organized here.
My chair just fell. I've eaten too much over the holidays.
What happened?
Dang, Liz, when your chair is just dropping, you need to get on a diet. That's what.
There you go. Well, wait until January.
I will. I'm going to do that next year. Why mess up this year?
See, this is the point. Profit allows you to create better jobs, provide better service, build a better business. We've talked about that before, but just don't want to lose the point. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of pick up to where we were last week.
Okay.
And the whole point is that you got revenue coming into your business. That's the money that your customers pay you. And you're constantly giving a percentage of that out to the people that are cleaning for you. That is, from an accounting standpoint, they call that cost of goods sold. From our standpoint, we want to call that your loaded direct payroll. And we showed you in weeks past how to calculate that. If you want to get caught up on that, go back and look at last Thursday's. No, it's been last Wednesday. It's been a week ago today. Smart business moves. We kind of walk you through all of that. But once you pay your payroll, you've got another amount of money, which is one minus your cost of goods sold, if you will, which is flowing through to cover your fixed expenses called operating expenses. And once you pay all those for the month, everything else that flows through is profit. And that is the stuff that creates the good jobs and the good service and the value for you.
Oh, and yeah. We got to show Nancy.
You guys need to see this again. So you got revenue coming in. Some of it's always flowing to your cleaning technicians. This is your cost of goods sold. And some of it's flowing over to cover your operating expense. Bam, until that's covered. And you see that down there, that's paid. Now the rest starts flowing over into profit until you get to the end of the month, and then you start over and you do it all over again.
Yeah, I like it more every time I see it, Tom. So good job.
Well, actually, I'm taking the concept and we're working on something that's going to be a little more elaborate.
A little fancified.
I'll give you a sneak peek, but this is, whoa, stop.
It's floating.
It's going to be cool with the homes and flowing, and you're like selling. Some of them become customers, some of them don't. Some of the customers become one time, some become recurring. The recurring you clean all the time, and you lose some of them. And
wow, oh, that's going to be.
I'm not quite done with that yet. I'm having to solicit some outside help.
Well, I like the simple one. I can understand it.
You like the other one too, and we're going to put it on a website where people can kind of plug in their red numbers and their green numbers and watch the money fly around.
Oh, nice! All right, I love that.
Okay, so we went through all this last week.
Yeah,
I kind of built this because I just wanted to talk about. There's a school of thought out there. If you want to make money in the cleaning business, in the house cleaning business, all you really need to do is get really good at SEO and put out a really slick website and get a lot of leads and do a lot of quotes and book a lot of jobs. And you can do that But if you really want to maximize the value you're creating from that and maximize the profit that you're going to be getting from your labor for doing that, then there's a lot more involved in just that. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. We introduced the concept last week. Uh-oh. Sorry.
Neighbor's dog?
We're upstairs. Hey, Molly, come here. Why don't you go somewhere? Sorry. I guess cats don't do that, do they?
No, but you have many times seen my cat's tail. Right? Dogs don't do that. So
we introduced the concept last week of loaded direct payroll. And you take that and you divide it by your revenue. That's your payroll to revenue number. That's that percent COGS, if you will. And in order to really maximize the profit that you're going to be generating from your business, a big part of that is reducing this direct payroll to revenue. And you can do that through one of two ways. You can either get your loaded direct payroll and make that go down. And we're going to be talking about a number of ways that you can do that. Or another thing that you can do is make your revenue go up, because you're taking the payroll number and dividing by your revenue number. So if you make the top number go down or the bottom number go up, you're basically getting to the same place. If you can make the payroll go down and the revenue go up at the same time, then you're even, doing it twice as fast.
all right. So sorry, stupid question here. We have LDPR. What is that R?
Well, loaded direct payroll. Maybe we should just do LDP.
Yeah, it makes more sense, because when you have LDPR to revenue, what it makes my brain do is loaded direct payroll revenue to revenue. Because when I say R, I say revenue.
Uh,
All right.
That's a good question. I appreciate that. So does this look a little bit better? We're developing our lexicon on the fly here, by the way. So this is helpful. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Loaded direct payroll divided by revenue.
It does very much for me. Thank you so much.
Make your loaded direct payroll go down, or your revenue go up, or some combination of two. Intuitively, that makes sense, right?
Yep.
Intuitively, we'd want to do that.
Okay, how about y'all? Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up, a yes. Give me something, make sure. If it doesn't, if anybody's like, I don't really know, explain that a little bit more, give me a no over here. So you guys know that my job during the KPI, whatever these are, Facebook Lives, is to make sure that you guys are all getting it. So, okay, awesome. Thank you, Robin. So anybody that doesn't get it, make sure that you're filling me in on that. Tom's job is to provide the information. My job is to make sure that we can all absorb it. Because for anybody that, thanks, Linda, for anybody that has been in some of Tom's classes, sometimes I start glazing over. It's like too much information, coming too technically, too quickly. So my job is just to make sure that it's absorbable. So anybody at any point in time that it's like, nope, too much, too fast, just hit me with the thumbs down and I will keep Tom on track.
Glazed eyes, and then people start crying.
We've had too many tears. We're trying not to have that happen anymore. No more tears.
So loaded direct payroll to revenue is LDPR. Maybe that was where I got off track. So the question is, how do we reduce it? And we make the loaded direct payroll go down, and we can do that in one of several ways. And each one of these bullet items, we're going to drill down into in more detail. And I'm going to give you some suggestions, but for every suggestion you're going to get in this discussion, we all need to be thinking about our own businesses. And I bet you could come up with a half a dozen other ideas of things you can do within your business to make the red numbers go down and the green numbers go up. But to make the loaded direct payroll go down, one of the things you can do is reduce your labor load. And if you remember from last week, We talked about the labor load as basically your taxes and insurance, workers' comp in particular. And the taxes in and of themselves, you don't have a lot of control over that, but you pay unemployment insurance. So, and that's like a state tax primarily, a little bit federal. And you've got control over that. And you definitely have control over your workers' comp to some degree. Some of us more so than others, but all of us have some control over that. Reduce your training expense is another way of getting your loaded direct payroll down. Improving your productivity. And we define productivity, and we're going to go into this in a lot more detail, as the amount of time that you normally take in a home. We call that the allowed time. The amount of time, technically from an engineering standpoint, is the amount of time it would take for the normal operator to clean that home, the average person, divided by the actual time it took to clean the home. So if there's things that you can do from a training standpoint, a tools and equipment standpoint to help people clean faster, that's another way of getting your loaded direct payroll down. And improving efficiency is another way. And efficiency,
to make sure that I'm clear here, because we've got two words that get interchanged all the time, right? Productivity and efficiency. So for the purposes of what you're teaching, Tom, we're going to use productivity to mean we give people a certain amount of time, 240 minutes to clean this house, 4 hours to clean, and they clean it in 3 hours. What's their productivity? Is it better, worse?
It would be 4 hours divided by 3 hours, and whatever that comes out to be. You give them
It'd be 1.25 or something, right? Something along those lines.
Should be.
All right. I know I have it.
1.33. So their productivity 133%.
Okay. So obviously 133% is going to be even better than, which we know, right? If we give them 4 hours to clean it, they get it clean in 3 hours. We love that. We're making more money as long as the quality is good, of course. So that we want that productivity to be a really high number. 133% productivity is better than the other way. So what's the math on, we give them 4 hours and it takes them 5 hours to clean? Then we would take 4 divided by 5. Yeah.
We're gonna be doing a deep dive on productivity and efficiency probably down the road. We're gonna work on it more here today.
Okay.
But, there's a lot of awesome things you can do in your business to improve outcomes. A lot of it in this area of profitability, if you understand what your productivity rates are as it pertains to your individual cleaners and what your productivity is per day. And managing your efficiency is huge too, because we didn't define that yet. Efficiency is the amount of time in a day that's spent actually cleaning a home, generating revenue, if you will, divided by the amount of time on the clock. And the clock time includes the productive time, the cleaning time, if you will, but it also includes drive time and meeting times, any other time where they are, officially working in the eyes of the Department of Labor, that they aren't generating revenue.
Okay.
80%. I see a number of 80% here. Is that?
If they spent 5 hours cleaning a job when they were only given 4 hours to clean it. So they're
yeah. Bing, we're getting it.
All right. So productivity is how well do the people meet their time goals, basically.
In the house.
In the house. Right? While they're cleaning time goals. And improving efficiency is how well efficiency is managed more in the office, isn't it, than productivity?
Well, think about that. In part, yes. Certainly the way you schedule, if you are scheduling where you've got your teams driving from one side of town to another, and it's a really big town, then you're really setting them up to have low efficiency, and they're spending way too much time looking out of a windshield, and nobody makes money looking out of a windshield.
Right.
But the teams have some control over that as well. if we're not really, am I going directly from my first house to my second house, or am I stopping by Walmart to do some Christmas shopping? I mean, there's a lot of different ways that, you can get a lower efficiency. Some of it is on the scheduling. Scheduling is an impact, but the other part of it is setting the expectation in your cleaning professional's mind that it's really important that not only are we productive, are we, meeting our standards for cleaning the home, if not exceeding them, but we're not, wasting any time between homes either.
Right. And so they need to understand that, and we call it windshield time as a shorthand version of non-cleaning time. So
Yeah.
anytime that they're not cleaning is what we're calling that windshield time. We probably need a better term for it, because there's a lot of stuff that's not necessarily windshield time that they might not consider. Maybe a smoking break if you have smokers. So they're not in front of a windshield, they're outside of their car. They could think that isn't included. So
If you have like a bottle where your cleaning professionals start their day at your office every day, and you have a meeting, every morning or periodically, then, how well is that meeting planned out, and how well is that time being used? Because all of that meeting time is clock time, and none of it is cleaning time. So that's driving your efficiency down. Not to say, team meetings are bad. They can be awesome and help you in so many different ways, but you really want to make sure that, you're using that time as effectively as you can be. And you don't want people, standing around chatting and, wasting time during the meeting or before the meeting or after the meeting. You want everybody to be moving with a sense of purpose, because you get 20 people together that are, losing 10 minutes because of just not focusing on, getting the day started and moving. That's 200 minutes, and that's, over 3 hours. And
yeah.
you're doing that day after day, that turns into some real money.
And there's a lot of ways that this can be useful to know too, because you want to be able to gauge whether or not it makes sense. So if you know the efficiency of the day based on all of the information that you have, you might decide, does it make more sense for every single one of my people to get their supplies together and fold their own towels? Or does it make sense for one person to be doing it for all of the teams? Should I get people together for meetings once a week or every single day for short periods of time? If you know to look at that information, which is the whole point of efficiency, you can make better decisions. So, which a lot of people just don't. They're just like, what do you do? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And what makes sense for a big company versus a small company, different types of pay, if you're paying hourly versus paying commission, different answers, or job ticket hour. All right.
So all of that are the red numbers. We want to, drive our loaded direct payroll down. Those are ways that we can do it. But the other side of the equation is, can we generate more revenue? And how do we do that? And one way of doing it is just charging more. And there's a lot of details and techniques to that we'll talk about. Another way of getting we're talking about is our revenue per direct hour paid. Another way of improving that would be to reduce your scope of work. You might be doing things in the home that really the customer doesn't even really place much value on. And if you find that you've got homes that you have identified as not meeting your revenue per direct paid hour goal, and if you talk to the customer about paying more, and if the customer says, well, no, I really can't afford to pay anymore, another way you can get to the same place is saying, well, maybe we can just do less work for you, and talk about, putting some rooms on request, things like that, or changing maybe the detail of some of the things that you're cleaning.
Yeah.
Rate adjustments and rate increases, and this is something that Liz taught me that made a lot of sense. there was a time that we just thought about rate increases as rate increases, and sometimes we had to increase rates a lot. But what Liz had been doing for a while is taking all of her new service sets, all of her new homes, and after she cleaned them 3 times, take a look and ask, am I getting the revenue per labor hour that I would expect to get? And if not, go through a process of figuring out why. And if it's not priced correctly, doing what is called a rate adjustment. How long?
One more way that we do a rate adjustment too. So if this has ever happened to y'all, maybe you do that at the beginning and you check and you're like, yeah, this rate is really good. Okay, good. And then a year later, it's time for a rate increase and you check and your productivity in that home sucks. Maybe they got all new wood floor. It used to be carpeted. We all know that's going to take a lot more time, right? Or maybe they installed tile and they got a pet and 2 of their kids that used to be off at college are now living in the home. What the heck, right? So your productivity is way down now. And so now we have to do a rate adjustment at the same time that we have to do a rate increase. So it's easier to have that conversation about this huge rate increase if you're adjusting for workload, scope of work, for whatever reason. I don't know if that's helpful. Adjustments are just different. It's when adjustments are your price is not changing. The amount that you're paying basically per hour is not changing. We just need more time to clean your house. There's just more work there than we thought there was.
Yeah. And we've all gone through that. It's like, gee whiz, we're going to have to increase Mrs. Jones by 50% in order to make money off of it. That's not a rate increase. That's a rate adjustment.
Yeah.
A rate adjustment is it's been 12 months since we've increased what Mrs. Jones is paying, and we're going to bump her, fee up, 10% or 5%, whatever we're deciding to do for that year. It's more of an annual adjustment. It's more of
an increase.
Cost of living.
That's an increase. You said rate adjustment, Tom, but
I'm sorry, increase.
Yeah. So an increase is your normal increase that you do. Most people are trying or, efforting to do annually. That one that you at least are getting the cost of living increase, right? The thing that your employees expect you to do so they can get paid more each year. So that's your increase.
So let's drill down on this a little bit. The first thing that we had on getting the loaded direct labor down is reducing our labor load. Your biggest opportunity there is reducing what you're paying on workers' comp. And we talked about this last week. We had an exhibit where there's some percentage of every payroll dollar going to your cleaning professionals that you're paying in workers' comp insurance. Now, you might pay the premium once a year or so much a month, but at the end of whatever the policy anniversary is, they're going to do some type of audit of your workers' comp, and you're either going to have to pay more or they're going to give you some money back. But when it's all over, you're paying that, exactly that percentage of every payroll dollar you're devoting to your cleaning professionals. If you have losses, if you have people that are technicians that are getting hurt that are resulting in workers' comp claims, there's this thing called a mod factor, which was managed by an organization called, what is it called? NCCI. I forget what the acronym stands for, but they basically have this really crazy calculation that's designed in a way where they don't want anybody to understand how the math works. But for claims that you have in workers' comp, they'll give you this number that's greater than 1, and they'll take whatever your normal premium would be, and they multiply it times that you could be paying 20% more, 50% more, 100% more than what you normally would the next year because you had injuries. And it can get to the point where I've seen companies have to go out of business because they couldn't afford to be in business because their workers' comp was so high. So that's a huge thing in terms of managing your workers' comp claims and not having losses. Now,
I know a company, Tom, you actually know this business owner as well, that she was hiring from a pool of people that were all very, very close to each other and shared a lot of information. One person was injured on the job and was able to go on receive workers' comp and stop working. And pretty soon she started getting inundated with workers' comp claims. Pretty soon she was at a situation where everybody in this group of people were all coming up injured. She had over 60% of her people were having some type of back injury. It's really hard to prove, as you guys all know. And so she really had to make some big changes, and she had to start, so which I'm hoping we're going to talk about, Tom, how to reduce some of these workers' comp claims.
So
some of the different things you can do.
we talk about leading indicators, and this is where this really starts getting fun, because you can just start drilling down.
Okay, wait, I have to interrupt. Who here thinks, wow, yeah, this does sound like it's getting fun, Tom?
Well,
Tom. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down that this is your idea of fun. Like Tom says, wow, did you all see how excited he sounded? Now this is where it starts really getting fun.
well, come on. I mean, let me reframe that thought then.
Okay.
When you take this at a high level, I really need to improve my direct payroll to revenue. It's like, well, what the heck is that? And what am I going to, when I wake up tomorrow, what am I going to do to do that? It's like, it is what it is, right? I look in QuickBooks and the numbers are what the numbers are. Well, if you start peeling the layers off the onion, you start drilling down the actionable things you can do, there's a long list of things that you can do. And so the overarching point is you want to be building those lists, to start looking at your business in a way where the things that are happening, you're able to see how that translates into payroll to revenue and how that translates into profitability, because there's things that are happening in your business every day. But you need to be able to see them in terms of when those things are happening, you need to be able to see the dollar signs and how that's affecting your profitability. And you start drilling down on this, you can then come up with a long list of things that are very, very doable. And the things that you don't have to do, you can challenge people in your organization. Your cleaning technicians have a lot of influence over what the direct payroll to revenue number is, or a lot of these leading indicators that contribute to that. And this is where the matter, meaning, measure, and accountability comes in. You start setting expectations, and you start measuring outcomes, and you start celebrating when you make the numbers, or coaching people when they aren't making the numbers. Basically, you're managing your business at that point. But when you're just dealing.
Robin's all about the thumbs up on that, Tom. He's like, yeah, it does sound fun to him too.
Well, Robin, you and I both have a problem, but that's okay.
You are kind of making it sound, maybe fun's not the right word, but like your explanation right there did make it feel kind of like energizing, motivating, like kind of inspirational. It's like, oh, okay, I got more control. I can do more. I can actually see the things that I can do instead of just waiting until afterwards, looking at the number and going, dang, the leading indicator.
I hope it looks better next week.
Yeah, right.
And fretting over the fact that it doesn't look good right now, not really doing anything about it, but just fretting about it.
Yeah.
And we waste, as business owners, I feel like we waste so much time trying to figure out what to do rather than doing, or rather than directing doing to be done by other people in your organization. It's a difference between letting it happen versus making it happen. And what we're doing by drilling down into this is we're putting ourselves in a situation where it's a lot clearer what needs to be done. And at that point, it's so much easier to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge believer in lead indicators and measuring and tracking those. I love them. Like, oh, what book was that came from that I just fell in love? Can't
Is it
remember.
4DX?
Yes, 40X. Oh my gosh, I just fell in love with that book, y'all. If you haven't read it, 4 Disciplines of Execution is
That wasn't on the list yesterday, was it?
No, because I talk about it all the time. So I'm
Okay.
like, I can't bring it up. Drive also wasn't on there because I bring it up all the time. But
Okay, but just for example, and I mean, this could go on, but what can we do to control workers' comp claims? Well, first off, we just measure losses.
all right, you guys, anybody that has an idea about how to measure workers' comp claims, or not how to measure, how to reduce workers' comp claims, what are some ideas? What are some things that you've done in your business to reduce workers' comp claims? There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
I want to see who's got what. I'm assuming, Robin, that you've got something there that you've done to reduce workers' comp claims. So one of the things that I've done, Tom, is it didn't reduce the claims, but it reduced the amount of money spent for the claims, was just start challenging, or just challenged every workers' comp claim, just as a SOP. Just challenge every single claim, because then it gets kicked up to the next place, and now it gets looked at. In our state, all workers' comp claims are automatically approved unless something happens to make them not get approved. So that's what I did, was just made it SOP, safety training, yep, Bridget, SOP to just challenge every single claim that came through. Not because I'm really challenging it, but to make it get kicked up the ladder, and so that it could be SOP. And that actually worked really well. Saved me a lot of money over the course of the years. What else do you guys do?
Safety training is important.
Don't move large furniture, flip beds, don't use bad electrical cords. So you have a whole list of stuff that you have created. You modified your SOP, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, SOP modification for safety. I think that's awesome. Okay. Who else? What else have you guys done? So another thing that we've done that I think you've heard about, a lot of you, anybody that's been through foundations has heard of, is we have a 2-day, so don't get Sharon on here to yell at me about this.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 2-day trial where we bring people on for 2 days, and like a working interview. And in case they were to get injured, we find out about their bodies first. Can they manage this or not? Are they strong enough to be able to manage it before we take them on? Also, if they were to get injured in that first 2 days, or if they come in, this idea was actually given to me by our local workers' comp people. Bring them in for 2 days. Because sometimes that's a shtick that people have. They're already injured. They apply for a physical job, and then they claim to get injured within the first hour of working for you. Now you're on the hook for that workers' comp claim. So, and that happened to me, and I was like, how is this fair? She was obviously injured beforehand. Bummer. So this was the solution for that. So that's a way. What else? So you can get a long list, y'all. Tom, how many things do you think we could get on this list? I would say at least 10. Y'all have at least 10 on this list.
The equipment you use, the tools you use, the cleaning products you use, the list goes on. There are firms that you can hire to come in and, actually do pre-hire, assessments to get a baseline of people who've got like pre-existing conditions. You can't do this until you hire them, but once you hire them, you can get a baseline. So if they have any pre-existing conditions, you've got it medically documented. So if they have a problem in the future, your liability is a lot less. how you set expectations in terms of making sure that everybody is clear, not only on the safety training, but what your practices, what your policies are regarding injury. And if somebody has an injury and doesn't report it immediately, then that can be a terminal offense. You can't say that I got hurt and come back 3 days later.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, I'm not saying that you could fire them at that point, because then you got all kinds of other issues, but you really want to make it serious. It's like, if you think you got hurt, you need to let us know immediately. How you do your accident investigations are important. If somebody gets hurt, you just don't accept it as, okay, well, somebody got hurt. There's a whole investigation process that you need to go through, or you should go through, to identify root causes and figure out how it happened and figure out what you need to do to reduce it in the future. And at the same time, collect all the information you can, that if it's going to go in the direction of a workers' comp claim, that, it can be used to, basically it can be used in your defense. Who was that person working with? What did they see? What really happened? What do you do with that? Somebody says, hey, I got a paper cut. Do you need to file a workers' comp claim? Well, that kind of varies from state to state. So one of the things you need to do is have a really good working relationship with your insurance agent. We've had Laura Cheney on here before, who is like really top shelf in terms of workers' comp within the cleaning world. And your insurance agent is a partner with you on stuff like this. And if you aren't sure, you reach out to your insurance agent. And in some states, in some situations, you're better off just saying, okay, well, here, go see our company doctor, and they'll, give you a Band-Aid, and then we'll see, what we need to do moving forward. That you don't even really, they call them Band-Aid claims, and it varies from state to state. But just because somebody's hurt, depending upon the magnitude, it doesn't even necessarily have to be something that becomes a workers' comp claim.
Yeah, some states you're allowed to do that. Is super nice if you are. Oh, one more thing that is really nice is this kind of a tricky little thing. On your exit interview, when you do your exit interview, remember to ask if they were injured, because so many times they'll say, no, I had no injuries on your exit interview. Then if they try to come back later and say that they were injured, oh, you've got this cover showing that that has saved me so many times over the years, with more than I can remember. It has saved me, where people try to come back and say they were injured after the fact, when I have it written by them, signed, that they were not injured. So that's just a quick, easy thing. So many little things like that you can do, as long as you're looking for it.
And if somebody says that they're injured, but then, and it's something that, they might need to see a doctor, then and again, this varies from state to state too. A lot of states gives the employer the ability to prescribe a particular doctor, a company doctor, to send that person to. You ask them, do you want to see the company doctor? If they say no, then you have a form that they basically sign, saying that they were given the opportunity to see a company doctor and they decline that. So if they decide to go to the emergency room, then that night or the next day or whatever, you're less liable for having to be responsible for that, because you gave them the opportunity for medical attention and they passed on it.
So many different ideas, the different things that you can come up with.
This list goes on and on and on. You know what? We are quickly running out of time.
We got 14 minutes.
We got the first bullet point under reducing our labor load, and we've got these bullet points, and each one of these bullet points has bullet points underneath of it. And if we really wanted to, we could do bullet points under each one of these bullet points.
But Tom, I really think that if we can get 4 things under each one of these, that's a great use of our time. Because a lot of times people when they see this, they feel stuck. They feel like, how can I reduce workers' comp claims? That's not what, I don't have any power there. They really feel a victim to this. Just scroll through any Facebook group and you'll see people saying, it's not fair. I don't have any power in this situation, to all of these. So I think it'd be super helpful to spend time on that. Robin wants to know, Tom, do you ask about any back issues, knee issues before hiring?
You got to be careful with that. And again, I'm not an attorney, so I want to be careful here. You want to make sure that you aren't asking any questions that would be considered to be EEOC claim issue, and taking somebody that's got like a pre-existing condition and listen, you can't ask somebody, have you ever had a workers' comp injury before? What you can do is explain to somebody that, this job is going to require you to, work on your hands and knees, bend down, pick up things that might weigh 50 pounds multiple times a day. Is there anything that I'm explaining here that you might feel would be a challenge in terms of being able to perform? And if you're interviewing people all day, you can actually say that in a much more elegant way than what just came out there. But talk about the work and explain the work and ask them, if they could do that work. You can ask them questions about, have you ever done work like that in the past? Can you tell me about it? If it's about doing the work, you can. If it's about their physical condition, you can't, if that makes sense.
And you can also do something that my good friend Craig Sidoris does. You can build stairs into your interview area, and you can see how well people get up the stairs. You can also knock things off your desk and ask them to pick it up for you and see how they do with that. In the interview process, you can ask them to do a lot of things to see if they can or if they balk. If they're like, what? That's too hard. That's good information as well. So,
meet them in the parking lot.
There's
say, hey, I just got back from Home Depot. Can you help me unload these bags of cement?
I might be careful about that one, but you could say, as part of one of the things that we have done, we're not doing this now, but we've done in the past, was which of these would you prefer to do currently right now? Would you prefer to do 50 push-ups, or would you prefer to give me a 5-minute spiel about whatever? And people that are like, I can't do 50 push-ups. I can't even try. All right, good to know. How about 50 sit-ups? Would you prefer to do those? I can't. That would kill my back. All right, good to know. So there's lots of things that you can ask people to get the information without saying, do you have any back or knee injuries? Because that question itself could cause you some trouble.
Yes, you wouldn't want to ask that.
Yeah.
But we could spend the entire show just talking about this one topic. Let's just wait till there's more stuff for us to talk about that we've got time to talk about. I just don't know how we're going to do this.
Not really, Tom, because we have every Thursday in 2021 to talk about it. We got a whole year coming up to talk about it. I mean, I really think that this is okay. You guys, you tell me, is it valuable to get like 4 bullet points under each one of these so that you have some ideas of things to do? Thumbs up or thumbs no? You rather move quickly through the slides and you guys come up with your individual things. You guys tell me.
Wouldn't it be nice if this were Zoom where people could actually
It would be so nice. So we could actually see the people. It would be awesome, Tom. All right, Robin, I'm counting on you. Some of these people that Linda says yes. Okay, great. Leslie, how about you? You have a tendency to be okay with speaking up. Bridget, you've spoken up in the past. What do you think about you? Beatrice says yes. So far, everybody's saying yes. Quick comments on unemployment points for each. Okay, that's good. Sounds like for each one, Tom.
Yeah. So reducing unemployment claims. Really.
Yes, also.
I'm sorry?
Everybody's saying yes, Tom.
Yes. So every once in a while, you have somebody that's not performing and they really aren't a good fit for your organization, and you're having to figure out, how am I going to get, the question you're asking is, how do I get this person out of my organization? And the easy thing to do is just say, hey, you're fired. But if you don't do that in the right way, they can go to the unemployment office and say, hey, I just got fired from my job. And I guess this varies in every state as well, but there's a chance that the unemployment office is going to come to the conclusion that they're entitled to unemployment pay because you didn't have a good justification for releasing them from your organization. So how do you protect yourself from that? How do you protect yourself if somebody files an unemployment claim? You don't want to lose that claim, because if you do, then next year there's a likelihood that the amount of the percent that you're going to have to pay for every salary dollar that goes to unemployment insurance is going to go up, and that's part of your labor load. So, one of the things that we prescribe to people would be, if you actually are going to terminate somebody from your organization, have a process that is documented.
Which is exactly what Robin is saying. Document, document, document. Absolutely. Especially if you're going to need to let somebody go for cause. Even if you are in a no fault state. Is it called no fault, Tom? No fault state. You still want to be documenting why you're letting people go to control your unemployment. I've heard people get a little bit confused about that. They think, no, it's a no fault state. I can let people go for any reason. Yes, that may be true, but you may still have to pay unemployment.
And if you can do it with a process where you need multiple meetings, you just don't go up to somebody and say, well, it depends situationally. You need to have, your policy manual has to be clear on what are terminal offenses. Like, you might want to have a list of things in your policy manual. And again, this could vary from state to state, and you need to have your labor attorney review this. This is one thing that you would work with your labor attorney in the development of your policy manual, where you might say, if somebody physically punches somebody or assaults them in some way or behaves in some certain way, that's a terminal offense. You might have things in your policy manual that address, theft and things like that. You've got other things that are probably performance related that, initially that wouldn't be a terminal offense, but you would have a process where you would, give them a verbal warning, a written warning. And if it happens a third time, it might be something that's terminated. And all of these things would be documented as you're taking somebody through the process. As you're going through the process, and if it becomes evident that this person isn't a good fit for your organization, it's not a bad idea just to, ask them if they want to resign.
That's my favorite. Tell them that it doesn't look like this job is working out for them, and that it might be better for them to look for another job. So that's one of my very, very favorite things to do. I don't fire a lot of people because I let them resign. Yeah.
And you want to have a standard letter of resignation that you have your people fill out as they are resigning from your company. So if you're having that discussion, have that document handy. So I say, yeah, maybe I should. You can go here.
Yep.
I've already got part of it filled out for you. You can just sign right here.
And Bridget and Robin are both bringing up some good points here, Tom. Did you see this?
Okay.
Bridget is saying disciplinary actions may be clear to the employee with tons and tons of documentation. So absolutely making sure that they know what those disciplinary actions are in advance is going to be key. So that's where your policy manual falls in, right? Otherwise, they can still get their unemployment. Yep, same thing.
Being specific, I like that, Robin. And when possible, if you have an objective reason, if you're terminating somebody because their attendance is out of compliance, then that's kind of cut and dry. There's not a lot of debate there. If it's something that's it's a lot shakier ground if it's because of things that are behavioral in nature that aren't easily quantified. Well, they've got a bad attitude. Attitude isn't something you terminate somebody for. It needs to be something that's measurable.
So if somebody has a bad attitude and you need to get rid of them, then you have to make sure that you find a way to be able to do that that's going to keep you from having to pay unemployment claims. What are some ideas with that?
Yeah.
This is the main reason for cause, not a bunch of reasons. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's really a good idea, and your insurance agent should be able to help you with this in terms of putting you in contact with a good labor attorney. And a good labor attorney can help you through these difficult situations where if you've got a situation with one of your team members that you're heading, you need to part ways, but it's difficult and it's not cut and dry in terms of all the reasons why. Your labor attorney can guide you through that process as well. You're gonna have to spend a little bit of money, but it beats the heck out of it certainly beats the heck out of having a lawsuit because you terminated somebody in a way that gives them a right to go back and sue you for wrongful termination or an EEOC violation.
So one more I just want to add on here as our fourth one, maybe, Tom, because we're running out of time really quickly. We're going to hear my clock going any second here, is don't forget to let people go sooner. You can reduce your unemployment claims if you just dismiss people before whatever the time frame is. Usually it's a month, but it's not always.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. If you do it in the first few weeks, you're not on the hook for anything.
Right. So just have that as part of your process, that people are we're planning on them either staying a year or 2 weeks. That's mine. I have no plans for anybody staying at my company for 90 days. That is not a thing. You're either going to be here a minimum of a year or you're gone in 2 weeks. That's how we look at our employees. Okay, let's see. What does Linda have here? I have a termination letter stating why they are being let go and the previous actions that have been done. They have to sign and we both get a copy. It has saved me many times. Absolutely. Anything you can get documented is amazing. I love that. And really your unemployment office, however it's done in your area, they love that too. They don't want, like Robin said, they don't want to listen to you ramble on for an hour about how bad that employee was. Just tell me why they were fired. Give me a piece of paper, send it in to me, give me all your backup documentation. And that call's over, depending on how you guys do them. In my state, it's a video call, but it's just done by video. And they can let you off the call in 5 minutes. That's it. They don't want to spend an hour if they don't have to. So I love that.
You know what, Liz? It's the top of the hour.
I heard my clock. I did.
Golly day.
This is great, Tom. I really think, do you guys agree with me that this is valuable to go over the different things? Go back one slide, Tom, and show everybody the different bullet points that we will be hitting, where we're going to try and get at least 4 things under each one of these. 4 ways to improve productivity, 4 ways to improve efficiency, 4 ways to charge more per hour, 4 ways to reduce scope of work. Okay, thank you, Bridget. She's loving this. I totally think having the list, Tom's, is huge.
And if we really wanted to, if we really wanted to have fun, we could drill down deeper under, what do we mean by measuring accidents? And really talk, you can just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. So the overarching point here is, if you ever find yourself getting stuck saying that, gee, my payroll's too high, my payroll to revenue, I just don't know what to do about it. I measure that number week after week, and it's always higher than it's supposed to be. Then, you just aren't looking in the right places. There's a million things that you can do, and it's a matter of and you don't do it. You're not going to do it all yourself. Basically, you kind of organize it. You're the CEO. And you get everybody in your organization involved on working on the things that they have control over. And this is how you make it what you want it to be. You make it happen rather than let it happen.
Yeah. And everybody's loving this, Tom. So I think this is really good direction. Okay, great, you guys. 2021 is going to be amazing. We got to go. We are past the top of the hour now. Happy, not anniversary, New Year.
New Year. Yeah, we'll be back Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern.
There's my fireworks, everybody. All right.
2021.
Yeah. Good to see everybody on the call. Glad to see you.
Be safe. We'll see you Monday.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.